Hey everybody, welcome back to our neck of the woods. So just to give you guys a little bit of an update on the gasoline spill and what's been going on. So this is like day 2 or 3. We're still using the fan and trying to blow everything out. I've been using the shop vac, and basically I keep pulling all of the haze on top of the water out. Again with the shop vac, taking that outside and dumping it. And it's getting very, very light, very light haze. I'm still using Dawn dish soap, throwing in like a 5-gallon bucket and mixing that up and then kind of dumping it down on there. So that way we're kind of washing the sump pump and the walls of everything to kind of like dilute that down a little bit. And then we're pretty much using the washing machine that's running as a tub clean with our like tub cleaning tablets. Because what that does is our washing machine is still dumping outside here out of the 4-inch drain before it goes into a septic tank, before we get that installed. And that soapy water leaches down on the back side of the wall over here, down into the French drain, which also brings it in. So instead of us continuing to dump water out there, if you just use the washing machine, which uses about 30 gallons per load, again, that goes on the outside of this wall, filters on down, gets into the drain, swoops around this way. The gasoline's coming from that way, but this is coming from that way. And now we bring in kind of soapy washing machine water also down into the sump pump, and just again trying to help dilute and get rid of that smell. Now, many of you guys suggested just letting it go, not digging up the soil or anything, because gasoline obviously does evaporate very quickly. But my worry is the residue that kind of sticks around with gasoline. It may dry or something, and most of it will evaporate. But when we get heavy rains, we're still going to be getting that probably that gasoline smell as rain comes in and brings it back into the sump pump, and I'll show you why that is. So until we get the concrete out here finalized, even though we have some grading up along the house back in there, this entire yard still drains towards the house. So when we have a heavy rain, water goes right towards that stone, trickles through the stone, gets all the way back towards the back of the house or the front of the house on the back side there, and then eventually finds its way down through all of the soil, and water goes with a passive leak resistance. So the fact that that soil has been disturbed over there, it eventually does make its way back there. Now, at least on this side of the house, I know for a fact, because we don't have our gutters on, before I put all this stone down, the water that would come off of that corner would hit right here. I had the soil built up high enough and made a little berm right here that all of this water does make its way around this hole where the soapy water comes out for the washing machine. It makes its way around through here and then goes out towards the backyard. So we know the water on this side of the house hits a better backstop, if you will, and flows that way. But unfortunately, in the middle of the house and where the water is coming off of this side, where we don't have a gutter still yet installed, the water that does hit there does make its way back to the house into the drain, or it kind of goes off of this way and goes towards the driveway. But the biggest goal is obviously to get to stopping water and overusing our drain too much on our sump pump. Once we get that side of the house done with the gutters, once we get this side of the house done with the gutters, and once where all of the limestone is, once I build up all of the concrete and go all the way down there with the sidewalk, that concrete plus that stone is probably sticking up, I don't know, maybe that high, maybe let's say 6 inches overall. I will bring in dirt and taper off a grade out here, so that way any water that comes through the front yard, before it can get under the concrete and through that stone, it will hit a grade of soil, and that will kind of divert it off going that way, and it will divert it off going that way, since we are kind of standing on a peak here. So we are going downhill, but the grade does fall that way and the grade does fall that way. So once that concrete and dirt get in here and the 2 gutters and stuff, we won't have to worry about water continually coming in this way and going towards the house. Now, a few people asked me, are we worried about the ICF? Gasoline would eat ICF like there's no tomorrow. But as you can see, we have that super thick plastic dimple membrane. No, I'm not worried about gasoline hurting the ICF, because I doubt the gasoline is hurting that super thick plastic. That plastic probably goes up to maybe a foot up behind the gemstone, and it goes all the way down to the footer. So any gasoline that would have hit that plastic would have gone straight down from that dimple membrane and would have went right to the French drain. The only place is that dimple membrane is basically just sitting on the footer, like right here vertical. So in that joint right there where we've got the rubber wall and the mastic that we used first, the mastic plastered itself to the ICF and the concrete and made like a little 45 angle, and then we sprayed the rubber wall down the ICF over the mastic and over top of the footer. The only place it could really get into and hurt is that joint, which is the cold joint. But even if it made its way through the rubber wall and ate a little bit of the foam, it's not going to go much further through the concrete. And even if it does, it's not really that big of a deal, because on the other side in the basement, we've got our 2 inches of foam plus our 4 inches of concrete. So we're talking like 6 inches down at that cold joint, where I'm not that worried that if something were to leach under, coldness or gasoline wise, it's under the foam and it's under the concrete. It's not really going to come up through the basement floor, so I'm not that worried about it. And again, I'm not that worried about it actually hurting the ICF. But good thoughts on people that were thinking that, because it did cross my mind also. Now, if anyone is wondering what the hell happened, I made that video the other day when I was on my way to work. And what I initially thought it was there's 2 lines coming directly out of the generator's gas tank. There's this hose right here, and then there's the hose right here that goes obviously down to the carburetor. I initially thought it was coming out of this hose that goes down into this charcoal canister. Something may have malfunctioned up in the gas tank, because this is basically just kind of like an evaporator system with a charcoal canister like you have on your car. I thought something broke in here and the gas was coming down this line, filling up the charcoal canister, and then it was coming back up and spitting out of the air box right there. But what it really was the carburetor on the inside of there, and basically the float bowl was not floating all the way up, and like there's a little like sharp needle, it pinches off on the inside of the float bowl, so it was leaking out of the carburetor as it wasn't supposed to. So 2 things that we learned from this: number 1, I'm now shutting the gas off from the gas tank so it can't get down in there, and 2, maintenance on the float bowl. And actually 3, as you can see, the generator is now in the back of the house, because if something were to ever happen to this generator again, we've got so much fall and grade away from the house now. The only place this gas can go is out towards the backyard, and we're gonna see it actually on the ground, and we'll know that once again we have a problem. But I don't think it's gonna happen again. The only thing that the gas could fail now is if the on-off switch here were to malfunction and the float bowl were to malfunction, then it can overflow out of the carburetor again. But it was a quick, easy fix today. Once I turned it all on and took the air filter off and let the gas flow with a full tank again, I could just see it dumping out of the carburetor, and I knew it was the float bowl. It wasn't really gummed up or anything wrong with it on the inside, but I cleaned it out and tested it, and it didn't do it again. So there must have been something just microscopic on that little itty bitty tiny pin that's supposed to be pushed up and plug the hole. But that, again, that's all I really got for you guys in this video. I just wanted to give an update, let you all know I fixed the problem. I'm still working on the gas problem up here. And again, thanks for all the suggestions and making me feel better that it will evaporate and I don't have to excavate like 10 yards of dirt or something and get it all out of there. I'm still maybe looking for a product to throw down on that stone. Maybe just throwing Dawn dish soap all over the place, or something that's got some fragrance in it or something, because you can kind of still smell it underneath of the porch. But at least for, again, down here in the basement, continuing to throw the laundry and some soap down in there and sucking out the contaminated water seems to be working quite well. The only thing that we're gonna not be able to know is what happens come the first heavy downpour. Is it gonna redo it all over again? or will it have had enough time to evaporate and we don't have to worry about it. But again, thanks for all the views. Thanks for all the suggestions. Anyone's praying that we got it done and we got it figured out and no major damage happened. Thank you for that. And we'll see you guys next time. Again, I am working on the other side of this wall that I'm gonna wait for you guys to see until we get the ceiling drywalled and get all the shiplap up that we stained and finish off Aaron's studio. And we got to figure out what other videos we can do for you guys coming up here shortly. So till then, I'll see you guys next time. And again, thanks. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you next time.